Hi, everybody. I know there's a few of you waiting to come on. It's good to hear from you, I hope. I want to tell you a little bit about this web. It is about psychotherapy at the grassroots level. It is like hopefully going to answer some questions that people have with any luck. It might have to be cut short in the middle of it, only because I get bored out of my tree. Not. I'm just joking. If you have any questions, just send me a little link or say hi or whatever on the live chat. And if you have any questions, I'll answer them as best I can. We have a couple of people already. I was asked during the week if I would answer a simple question. And the question was, I actually can't remember what the question was. The question was, what was the difference between self-respect and self-esteem? I could go into reams on both of them, but I'm not going to, because I'm going to give you a link to our podcasts at some point in time. If you want a link to them, just let me know and I will send on the link for it. So there's a few more people coming on board. Terry, how are you? I hope you are sitting back with the feet up and enjoying this, because I have the cup of tea. You can sit down. So what is it about? It's about psychotherapy from the grassroots level. It's about what do you need to know? What do you want to know? What questions do you have? Is there a particular issue that you want advice on? It's going to be all of that. It's going to be hopefully interactive. I will answer any questions that come up. I nearly forgot. We do have a Facebook page. We have an events page. We have a whole pile of other things. So any questions, please just ask. I know there are a few people thinking in their head now, what can I ask? Actually, you mightn't even want to ask anything at the moment. Just say hi. I see. Bye-bye. Hello. I don't know whether that's a hello or a goodbye. But I'm presuming it's a hello. Sorry, some of the things are coming in really, really fast here. Actually, I've just discovered something. It's very difficult to look at the screen and actually look at the comments as well. But it'll be interesting. So, first question. What's psychotherapy all about? Psychotherapy is a tool that we use on a regular basis. It's like if you go to the doctor, you have a pain, you go and you get medication, or you go and you get seen to, basically. If you have a sore tooth, you go to the dentist. It's the same thing with psychotherapy. If you have a problem emotionally, you come to therapy. That's basically what it's all about. You talk about your issues, you find out the different answers, you discover an awful lot more about yourself. It's also about self-development. Sometimes if we have something in our heads, we can't actually see the wood for the trees. We can't see the answer. So what psychotherapy does is gives you the space to discover that bit of peace enough that you can find the answer yourself. Sharon, how are you? Long time no see. Ah, cute. Abby, I knew you'd come on board. It's good to see you all. Well, not see you technically. Okay, you'll have to forgive me. I'm looking at a screen and I don't see anybody, which is really a weird thing. But hopefully I'll get used to it. And you'll get used to me. Yeah. What's the difference between psychotherapy and counseling? Although they're very similar, very, very similar, counseling is usually a limited form of therapy, i.e., if you have a phobia or you have a specific issue that you want to deal with, you have 6 or 12 counseling sessions, excuse me, and you sort out that issue. With psychotherapy, you go into it in a much deeper way. You don't just deal with the issue, you actually deal with the causes of the issue. And that's basically what psychotherapy is about, going back into where the issue began in the first place and then sorting out that. It's a journey that can be very emotional for people, depending on, for example, if you come in and you have, let's take the doctors. You go in, you have a pain in your finger. Now, a couple of things can happen. He can just stick a plaster on it, he can give you a tablet for the pain, or he can go and find out how you cut it in the first place. That's basically what therapy is about. Finding out not just the issue at hand, but finding out where it comes from. Because you may need to deal with something from a previous point of view. So something may have happened in the past, and the present issue is only a trigger for that emotion. We cover, what do we cover? We cover everything basically. The idea of therapy is that you come and you talk. It used to be called the talking cure. And I believe personally that it is. If you have somebody that will listen to you, that will listen to your issues and give you a hand to sort it out, how bad can that be? We all need help at times. We all need, and especially in today's day and age when we've got the coronavirus, where people are stuck in their homes, where they are basically just cheesed off. Now, how do you deal with that? Well, you can get very depressed with it for a start. You know, imagine 4 walls coming in on top of you after 3 or 4 months of being locked away. It can be very difficult. But at the same time, it also can give you the space that you need to actually look at yourself at a very much deeper level. So there are two ways of seeing this COVID-19, either from a very negative view or from a very positive view. The other thing about the lockdown, or in some areas it's lockdown, is that if you see it in the negative, it will trigger a whole pile of other issues for you. If you see it in the positive, you will actually have a little bit more responsibility towards other people. So, for example, we see at the moment there is a huge amount of young people who are catching this virus. My question would be why? Why do they catch this virus? Some people would say, well, they're being young people, they're out and about. Exactly. The problem with that is that they're out and about with others that they don't know whether they're holding the COVID-19 virus. So, say, for example, that school in Dublin, you can see where one child now has passed it on to a number of other of his classmates. There is talk about whether or not there should be another lockdown. Why would we have a lockdown if people are taking responsibility? If people are taking responsibility, then that's a good thing. However, we can see that a lot of people aren't. Now, that leads on to the question, why aren't they taking responsibility? Then you start talking about that and you discover that maybe they don't like to be told what to do. My question would be, where did that start? So you can use anything for an issue if it triggers a reaction in you rather than a response. Then you might need to have a look at it and say, well, why am I reacting that way? A lot of people are reacting at the moment out of anger. Why? If we want to keep everybody safe, we need to be responsible. And I'm only using the COVID-19 because it's an everyday occurrence now. We're all talking about it. We're all looking at the news about it. And it is affecting people. It's affecting people to the point of distraction. Some people enjoyed the lockdown. Some people didn't enjoy the lockdown. One would ask why. Why you enjoyed it, why you didn't enjoy it. And I think a lot of people have started to look at themselves with that in mind and say, okay, well, what's going on for me? And I think that's the best question to ask. Why am I reacting in such a way to something that is affecting everybody? So if you bring it back home to yourself away from COVID-19, and you have two people in a room who are arguing the toss, why not ask the question, what's happening? What's going on? Why are we arguing? My question would be, why are you arguing in the first place? What's the issue about? So the other thing is, if two people are arguing and it gets out of hand, why has it got out of hand? It's necessary to sort these things out, and therapy can actually do that for you. You can see behind me, I don't know if you can actually see it, it says, I am fearfully and wonderfully made. We all are, regardless of what we react to. Everybody was born good, everybody was born innocent, everybody was born pure. So what happens to us? What happens to the change? We're taught certain behaviours. We're taught how to think. We're taught a vocabulary. And sometimes we use them incorrectly, which is such a shame. You have young people now spending more time on social media than you have actually talking to one another. Why? What has happened to society that we have to spend our time on texting, Facebook, and all that? Is it necessary? Absolutely. It's progress. But if it's used outside of communicating with people on a one-to-one basis or on a face-to-face basis, then there's something wrong. There's definitely something wrong if we can't actually talk to people face-to-face. Facebook is great, Instagram, all that sort of stuff, Tweety? Where did I get that from? Tweet. You're texting. It's all good if it's used to back up face to face, not instead of. I mean, I'd love to have everybody that's logged in at the moment to this channel. I'd love to have them here in the house. Not going to happen. Some, as Sharon is, way too far away. But it would be good. So there are times when this kind of media is necessary, but it should not take over our life. Phones were invented for contact. Phones were invented to make a call. They were not meant to, dance a jig and make the tea. Although actually that might be quite nice if they made the tea. But what do we use it for? How often do we have it on us? How many of us can't go anywhere without our phone? Excuse me. So has it actually taken over our life? So the first question would be why? Why has it taken over my life? One of the things that I was asked during the week was, which actually is related to this, they asked me why I didn't answer my phone. And I suddenly realized I didn't have it on me. I'd completely forgotten it. But here I was talking to the person. So if something has taken over your life that's not positive, that's not bringing you into relationship with another person, then it's of no use. All of the products we have, all the phones, all the internet, all the everything should be used to get us closer together, not further apart. iPhones are brilliant. They can give you so much information. But if it's interfering with my relationship with people around me, what use is it? So I would definitely be asking the question, how much do I use my phone? How much do I need to use it? Is it a line of communication or is it a distraction? Is it of benefit to my relationship with somebody else? For example, if somebody is far away in another country, then the phone is brilliant. The internet is brilliant. It's fabulous. Email, the whole shebang, it's great. But if somebody is next door, why don't I just go to the door and knock on the door? Why do I need to ring them or text them? Have I got too lazy? Have I got, oh, well, I don't know how the person will be if I go and knock on the door? How will they be if you text them? To me, it's about relationship. It is about whatever we have needs to be positive and it needs to be in connection with the relationships around us. It should not isolate us. If it isolates us, something's wrong. If we begin to isolate ourselves, we have to question why. So many young people are dying through suicide. Why? Yes, they have issues. Yes, they have problems. Yes, they have so many other things going on. But where's the relationship? There's no point in texting somebody, how are you? Why not go and find them and find out exactly how they are? How many people after somebody has committed suicide do we say, if only I had been in touch, if only I had seen it, if only? There's a sugar load of if onlys. Put down the phone and talk. Put down the internet and talk. Face to face where you can. It is necessary to be able to see a person. I think Skype is brilliant and Viber and all of that. But if it doesn't enhance a relationship, it's of no use to me. If it's isolating me and that's the only way I communicate, then there is something wrong. As I say, communication is wonderful, but face-to-face communication relationship is much better. I'd like to hear your thoughts around some of these things. How do you feel about your phone? Can you do without it? Somehow I think the answer would probably be no. Then I would ask the question, why not? Why can't you put down the phone and go and have a walk together? If you're a family, why not put down the phones, go for a drive, be together, have a picnic? When was the last time anybody had a picnic? When was the last time people shared a meal together? That was happy, that was fun, that was enlightening and enlivening and life-giving. It's necessary to be in communication with people, but it is more important to be in the proximity of the person where it's possible. If it's not possible, then that's fine. We have people going in and out of houses and they've never eaten a meal together. For me, that's strange. At home, we used to have the Sunday meal, regardless of where everybody was. Sunday meal was sacrosanct. 2 o'clock, dinner. We all sat around the table and we talked. Why have we forgotten why we're a family? Now, don't get me wrong, there's a massive amount, and the majority of people have a wonderful relationship in their family. But some don't. Some don't know how to be a family. And those who don't have children, do you spend the time together? Friends. Where's our friends? People have a lot of acquaintances. And we bandy the word around, we bandy the word friend around. Oh, she's my friend, he's my friend. Are they really? Would you trust them completely? Without reservation? Would you trust everyone you call a friend? Probably not. So are they really your friends? I think I have maybe 3 friends, a lot of acquaintances, but 3 best friends. If you have a best friend, you are who you are with them. You're not any different than you are by yourself. You can talk at a very deep level, you can argue, you can fight, and I see one of them on already. If I can't be myself with people, what's the point? Why do I not communicate who I am with people? Am I ashamed of who I am? Am I afraid they won't like me if they really get to know me? What's the point? We have to begin to question ourselves and our relationships. If we don't, we just carry on through life and we look at things in a very disconnected way. And if we're disconnected, how can we be ourselves? So here's a question. Who are you? Who are you on your own? Take a second and think about it. Who am I? And then ask yourself, who am I with somebody else? Am I the same person? With all my faults and failings on show? Or do I pretend? Do I pretend to be something I'm not or someone I'm not? And that can be difficult. It can be very difficult to be ourselves with everyone. We're not asked to be, but we're asked to be who we are regardless of who we're with. That's difficult because of baggage, because of what people might think, what we think people might think. So do you agree or disagree? It would be interesting to see how many of us are 100% ourselves 100% of the time. Somehow I don't think we are. And half the time we're not 100% ourselves anyway, even to ourselves. We have issues, we have problems, we've baggage, as we like to call it. And we don't want anyone else seeing that. Oh God, no, nobody can see that baggage. What was that old saying we used to have years ago about something about, hanging your dirty linen out in public? I think that was it, something along those lines anyway. Nobody's asked to hang their laundry out in public. But you need to be honest with yourself. And if you have issues, then you need to deal with them. You don't have to hang your laundry out. You don't have to hang up all your faults and failings. But you do need to deal with it. And in doing that, you become a freer person to be another percent closer to being 100% of yourself. They say we only use 10% of our brain. If that's the case, we're all screwed. Why? Can you imagine using 20% of your brain? It would be interesting to see what 20% would look like if I'm only using 10%. But getting back to relationships, what is your relationship like with the people around you? Ask yourself the question, are you happy? Are you happy being who you are? And if the answer is yes, well done. I give you 90% of a correction mark for that. However, if you're not, then you need to ask the question why. And a lot of people can talk to their partner or their best friend or whatever, and they can discover it that way. But sometimes it's easier to talk to a stranger. It's easier to be able to say, this is who I am in a psychotherapy session, and not worry about when you walk out the door whether somebody is going to repeat what you've just said to them. That's not what psychotherapy is about. It's not about holding something over somebody. It's about helping the person to be themselves and be happy with being themselves and being able to question themselves about why they're not happy. There are many issues in today's world that we need to look at. And I think we have become a very complacent society. We have become complacent in dealing with issues that are very important to us, in dealing with people who are important to us. How many of us will say to somebody that we disagree with, I don't like you, or I disagree with what you say? Most of the time, we actually will sit back and kind of go, oh, what's the point? There's a big point to it. If you disagree with somebody, you disagree with somebody. It doesn't have to be World War III. You do have to be able to say, I disagree. You do have to be able to say, I see it this way. And in doing that, you might actually come to a happy medium. But it is necessary to communicate. It is necessary to actually talk to somebody. They used to talk about the sense of community before in society and how we had a wonderful sense of community and togetherness. What has happened to that? What has happened to the fact that we don't even know who our next door neighbour is? We're afraid to ask. We're afraid to go out and ask who they are and get to know them. We need to do that to keep that community spirit alive. But if I don't ask, again, ask yourself the question, why don't I? What's stopping me from asking that? What's stopping me from communicating with that person? My head? Oh, I don't particularly like that. Don't like that person. They look funny. Somebody dressed in black with a gothic look, full of tattoos. What's the first thing we do? Probably run in the opposite direction or cross over the road. And yet they could be the nicest people on the earth. Why do we react to how somebody looks? Does it matter? Isn't it more important to get to know that person and then decide whether you like them or not? Isn't it better to get to know somebody you might actually make a new friend? I think it's necessary to communicate. I think it's necessary to communicate at any level, whether it just be passing somebody by and saying hi with a smile on your face. You don't know what that smile and that hello will do for the other person. It is necessary. So I would suggest that you test yourself. Leave your phone at home for 48 hours. or switch it off. See how you feel. You'll be surprised how well you can do without your phone. Now, I'm not for a moment saying chuck out the phone and, you know, go back to, the dark ages of the, what do they call it, the carrier pigeon or Pony Express. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is let's have a look at where we can improve our communication with people. Where can I change the way I am with other people? And if I can change the way I am with other people, that will change somebody else. Because the energy from my change will affect other people. It is necessary. So maybe we need to look at, I suppose, who are we? Who are we in the greater scheme or the bigger picture of things? Who am I in my heart? Who am I in everyday life? My colleagues at work, how am I with them? Do I really get to know them? My family, do I let everybody do their own thing? If you're a parent of young children, how much time do I spend with them? Or am I working all the time to provide for them? Now, that's not a bad thing, don't get me wrong. To provide for your family is necessary in today's day and age. But you must also add the provision of love, of communication. That is also extremely important. So I suppose it's finding a balance between doing what's necessary and doing what is right towards communication. It is necessary to earn money to live, absolutely. But it is also a necessity to communicate with family, to be able to talk to each other, so that there are no secrets that you can't talk about, that there are no issues you can't discuss. I remember, good few years back, somebody saying they had to have the talk with their child, and I was, I sorry, but I had to laugh at the time because I thought, you're married, you have two wonderful kids, and you're terrified to talk about sex. Please, you know, if we don't learn to communicate, there will be subjects that we will not want to speak with to our family. And that's where secrets begin. And it doesn't mean that you have to tell them every little detail of what's going on. But if there's something worrying somebody, they have to know that they can come and talk. And sometimes that's easier to do with a stranger. And my question would be, how come? Why is it easier to talk to a stranger than talk to my own family? Am I afraid I'll hurt them? Possibly. Am I afraid they won't understand? Possibly. Am I afraid that they'll give out? Possibly. But in the bigger scheme of things, if I'm worried about something, my family should be the first people I can call on without feeling judged, without looking and needing to get hammered either physically or mentally, and certainly not emotionally. It is necessary to communicate. If we could communicate, a lot of the troubles that we have nowadays would be lessened because we would trust the people around us, especially our families. We need to be able to trust our families when things go wrong and when things are good. However, if that doesn't work, then you have the likes of therapy, where somebody can go and talk and get the help that they need. If they have a feeling that they have nobody to talk to within their family, that's where we come in. That's why we're here, is to give that safety, is to give that comfort, is to give that space where they can come and talk. It is necessary to have somewhere that you can let go issues, problems, burdens, whatever you want to call it. Because if we hold on to burdens and we hold on to issues, what we do is we bury them alive. If I get angry with somebody, rather than let fly and take it out on that person, I bury it. Then all I'm doing is burying it alive. It will come out. And the problem with it then at that point is that it has become so big in our heads that we find it more and more difficult to let it out. Whether that be anger, sadness, it's easier to let out joy for a lot of people. Not for everybody, but for a lot of people. But we tend to swallow down negative emotion. Why? Because all we're doing is burying it, and it will be dug up. It'll be triggered in some way where it'll come out, and it'll feel like we're the worst in the world. Then other people get hurt because I have no control over it, because it has become too big in my head, and therefore I act out of it. Is it necessary to act out of it? No. Is it necessary to acknowledge it? Yes. It is necessary to be honest with ourselves. If we can't be honest with ourselves, we cannot be honest with anybody else. If we're not honest with how we're feeling to ourselves, we will never be honest with other people. How many of us think we're honest people? How many of us think we could tell anybody anything? We're an open book. Really? Seriously? I don't think so. If we really, really question ourselves, there is no way we're an open book. I can be the same with one person, but different with another person, and they sit in the same room. We all do it. My connection with one person is different to my connection with the other person. And I am not the same person with both people. So how are we with each other? How are we in the same room with one another as a family, or as friends, or as colleagues, or whatever way you want to put it? How comfortable are you in the company of other people? How comfortable are you with yourself? And if you can honestly say, I'm comfortable with my friend, myself, then you will be comfortable with other people. But you might find out later on that you're not so comfortable with people around you. I would ask, why? Because I'm not being true to myself. I'm not being true to the person I am. And to remember, I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Regardless of who made me, depending on your image of, what does it AA say? Your higher power. I believe in God. I believe He's mine. Other people have trees, animals, but does it make any difference what people believe in? Really? Does it really matter whether somebody believes in a God sitting on a throne judging them? Or somebody thinking that a tree is their God. Does it really matter what we believe? Providing we are the best that we can be at any given moment to somebody else and to ourselves. And that is the only way life can work. In psychology, and certainly in psychotherapy, we see the whole person: body, mind, and spirit. Body is the obvious one. Mind, yeah, sometimes the mind is a very strange place. And the spirit. What is the spirit to you? Is it the piece that you don't know? Is it the piece, your gut instinct, your wisdom, your sixth sense? And if it is, do you listen to it? Or do you just ignore it? An interesting one. So, if we're body, mind, and spirit, if I was to ask you, which part is sitting here listening to this right now? Is it because I asked you to look in? Is it that I want to look in? Do I have an interest in it? Or did something just tell me to check it out? I might have been triggered by being sent the link, but I still pressed the button to actually link in. So in that respect, was it your sixth sense, or your gut feeling, or your intuition? Was it your mind saying, "Oh, I better log in," or she won't forgive me? Or is it your physical, "Sure, I'm sitting here and doing nothing, I might as well log in"? Ask yourself which one it was. Ask yourself, which one did I press the button under? Was I curious? Will I watch or see her making a mistake? I'm doing that myself, so you don't have to worry on that score. Was it your mind wondering what it's about? What's she up to? What's she muttering about now? I have to check her out. I think it's a combination of all three. And the reason I say that is because I sent you the link, you then thought about it, and then you pressed the button. So I think it's all of that. But if one of those is out of balance, then who are we really? If I'm missing a part of myself, would I have logged in? Would I have pressed that button to have a look? I somehow doubt it. You probably would have said, feck that, couldn't be arsed. Only you can answer that question. And I'm aware that one is so far away, I have to say hello, Sharon. Sharon was a school friend of mine and still is a good friend of mine. Not an acquaintance, a friend. And it's good to see her on board. There is a question that is being asked. How do I know who I am? How do I know who I am? Well, who do I expect would know who I am? Only me. To find out who you are, you have to learn to sit with yourself. You have to learn to talk to yourself. Now, I'm not talking about walking down the road muttering away to yourself. I do that all the time, so people just think I'm nuts. You know, It's not about that. It's about taking time and sitting with yourself and going, what is going on for me now? Especially if we react to something. If I react to something, then I have a quicker, I'm more inclined to question myself now as to why did I react to that? What was going on for me that I reacted to that? Or if I watch, here's the thing, and most of us do this. We watch a film and we cry. Why? It's a film. Ask yourself, why do I cry at a film? It's not real. And we all do it. If we're honest, we all do it. I'm actually I'm doing it at the moment with Ghost Whisperer, which I think it went off the air a while ago, but I'm looking at the repeats of it, and it's gets me every time. Absolutely gets me every time. Why? Because it's about crossing over. It's about crossing over into new life. It's about crossing over into a new way of being. And that excites me. But it excites me to the point of I can't stop crying. It's not a sad cry, it's a happy cry. It's an excited cry. But a lot of people cry at a very sad story. My question would be why? What is being triggered in you to cry? Or if you're looking at the news and you see, for example, the protests that were in Dublin last week, and you get angry. Why do I get angry? People want to protest, they can protest. Is it because of what they were protesting about? I.e., we shouldn't be restricted, blah, blah, blah. The freedom to travel wherever we want to be. In my view, that's irresponsible, but that's my view. It's not anybody else's view, as far as I'm aware, but it's my view. In fact, I think those who get angry at watching something like that, are they angry because they're jealous that they want to be there and look for the same thing, the rights to do whatever? Or am I angry because they have the nerve to protest? Am I angry that they shouldn't be protesting? What's my anger about? And is it really about people protesting? In therapy, the question would be asked, you got angry at that. What did you do with the anger? I shouted and roared at the wife, or I shouted and roared at the husband, or I was shouting and roaring at myself watching the telly and effing and blinding on me. I was so angry with those people. Why were you angry? Because how dared they tell me that I am disrespected, that they don't respect the right of me for me to be healthy? Where does that come from? We have to ask ourselves who we are and why we react to things. Because if we don't, we get nowhere. We carry on, we float along in life, and we do nothing for ourselves. We do nothing to help ourselves. We do nothing to make society a better place to be. Is society better off with divorce? I don't know the answer to that. I'm just throwing it out there. Is society better or worse? You will have two camps. Those who will say, yes, it's wonderful to have it. You will have the others who will say, no, it's dreadful, it's shocking, it's. My question would be to both sides, why do you have to be so argumentative over a viewpoint? Can you not sit and communicate in a normal tone of voice and discuss it? Why do I need to shout over somebody? They have their rights, you have your rights. Why do I feel it necessary to put my view on other people? question would be again asked, why do I need to do that? Why can I not discuss the situation and come to the general consensus and then accept that consensus? Now, that goes with everything, not just with the COVID-19 and the protests. It goes with everything in family life, in our friendships, in our workplace. You have a boss who dictates what you do every day. What happens if you didn't do it? You get fired? Probably. But if you do what you're supposed to do and just do that. I have known people who work 3 days a week who now have to work 5 days a week, but they're still only getting paid for 3 days a week. They weren't asked to, but they're doing it because they need to catch up on work. Where's their life? We have to ask and communicate who we are. If we don't, we lose ourselves. In the midst of everything, we lose who we really are. So I suppose the question that I'm asking you to ask yourself is, who am I in the relationships around me? Who am I in the relationship with the people I care about? Who am I in relationship with my colleagues, my co-workers, my bosses, my kids? But ultimately, it's about asking yourself the question, who am I to myself? Who am I in relationship to other people? Some people can't answer that question. They find it difficult. How many of us can give out criticism but can't take it? How many of us get criticism and accept it as being the truth? How many of us cannot be honest with ourselves and say, I do not accept that criticism? Or if I was really myself and really truly myself, I'd say, thank you, I'll take that under advisement, i.e. myself. I'll go away, have a look at what the person said and kind of go, now, was she right? Was he right? Is there a part of it right? And if there is, do I need to change it? If somebody comes up and says, there, you're always arguing, and I disagree with that, there's another argument for sake. But if I disagree with it and we have an argument, I need to take that on board. I need to go away and say, well, was that person right? Do I always argue? And if I do, is it necessary? Why do I need to argue all the time? What's stopping me from just sitting down and discussing and listening? Do I feel that people are trying to get at me? Not always the case. Sometimes we don't like to hear the truth. Sometimes we don't like to hear what people have to say because it's so close to the bone. And that's when we react. That is when we literally can turn. Whereas if we're being honest and truthful with ourselves, what we do is we take on board what they say, take it away with us, think about it, reflect on it and say, yeah, they were 10% right or 20% right, or yeah, there's a touch of that in me. Then what do I do with it? Now I have to change. Because you can't unknow something. If I've learned that I'm an angry person and somebody says it, I can't say that I didn't know. And sometimes that's why people don't want to learn about themselves, because they mightn't like themselves. They mightn't like the way they react to things. One of the things that I spoke about recently in one of our podcasts was, if I'm an adult, I will respond to comments. respond to situations. But if the inner child in me, that young piece of me that is vulnerable or that was hurt as a child, that piece will react. So the next time, the next time that you react to something, ask yourself the question, am I the adult or am I the child? It's a very poignant question in today's world. Is the child triggered in us or is the adult triggered in us? To give you a scenario, and I like working with anger because it's everybody is angry at times. Everybody has had an argument. Everybody has been hurt by an argument. I always use the example of two people arguing over one moving a knife from one side of the table to the other. It's never been done that way before. So I've made a change and somebody argues with me. And in the middle of it, something personal is said. Disrespectfully, of course. Now I react and my voice gets higher. So the other person's voice begins to grow and get louder. Now my voice gets louder and louder until both of us are shouting and screaming at one another. What has happened to the issue? What has happened to the knife being moved from one side of the table to the other? What has happened is the issue is no longer present. It's not about the issue anymore. It is about one over the other. One getting the better of somebody else. It's about power and control now. And we argue with one another until we're hurt, until somebody makes a comment that cuts us to the quick. And then for the next few days, there's all picture and no sound. Why? Because now we're hurt. Now we're angry. Now we're still angry. Now, if I was honest, I would say, do you know something? I shouldn't have let that go that far. It was about a knife being moved from one side to the other side of the table. Is that why I was really angry? Or was there something else going on? So I have to ask the question, what is the anger really about? What is the anger above the issue? And as we have 2 minutes left of this hour of psychotherapy, I really want to thank everybody. Those of you who've joined, those of you who did make a comment, I really appreciate you joining me, and I'm hoping that you will be able to pass on the link for our website or our Facebook page, whatever. I really am so delighted that you joined me. And I am aware that there are some people who have joined but didn't make a comment. I appreciate that. Maybe the next time. I hope to in future be on a Monday and not a Friday. And the reason for that, and those who are on know me, I do a podcast every Friday. And if you want to have the podcast, please just send me your email address. Most of you have my email address. If you haven't, just PM me on the Facebook page or at lavernacenter@gmail.com or YouTube, whatever you like, whatever way you want to contact me. The podcasts go out on a Saturday morning, and we're on our 14th episode this week. We take different aspects of psychotherapy like self-care, anger management, all of that. And it's a 20-minute podcast every week. Again, I'd like to thank you. And in case I forget, I would like to say thank you to all of you who sent me best happy birthday wishes today, because today I am 55 and happy with that. You know, Sharon, thank you so much. I really, really enjoyed that. And thank you so much. And I know you're so far away, but it is brilliant to see you on board. I'll send you over the links. I can't remember if I have your email address, but I think you might have mine. Send me, and I'll send you over the links. They're worth listening to. Thank you, Terry, Sharon, Abby, all of you. I really do appreciate. Please pass on the message. It'll be on a Monday from now on. I don't know when yet, but if you subscribe to the YouTube channel, it'll notify you as soon as the one comes available. Probably in about 2 weeks' time. If I have a colleague who's supposed to be part of this, and she will, because I will hold her down if necessary. So thank you again. So goodbye and God bless. Please stay safe. Please stay well. Namaste. Ciao, everybody. Bye-bye.